Part 18. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 171. Half an hour later, the 10th level of the Great Wall, killing the tiger's mouth. You can faintly see figures walking through the tall city walls. In the corners of the city walls, there was still a bonfire, and black smoke was rising. It's the same as the ancient human city. It looks extremely formal and solemn, and people dare not infringe on it. The killing tiger mouth is in strong contrast to the 9 levels that were breached in front of it. This is the first time Gongsunli has seen a level that has not been breached. The first 9 levels, are they all like this? Looking at the tall city wall, Gongsunli said to Li Xian, who was following behind him. Li Xian instantly knew what Gongsunli meant. It's just a sword. The voice sounded a little cold, but for some reason, Gongsunli still heard a bit of pride and in Li Xian's tone the meaning of ostentation. Gongsun didn't hold back for a moment, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Ha ha ha. Is as strong as Li Xian, in front of Gongsunli, you have to show your muscles. I'm laughing to death. Do you want Gongsunli to worship himself? But Gongsunli doesn't seem to be weak. Li Xian is really cute, it seems that he is waiting for Gongsunli to praise him. Ha 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 ha. Harm. In terms of picking up girls, Li Xian is still not good. You see, if he shows himself in front of Gongsunli to smash the city gate with a knife, it may be a little useful. Ha 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 ha. Li Xian. You have to be cold. You are a master. Hold on. Good guy, straight men and straight women get together? I didn't believe it before, but now I believe it. What Suanjiza said is true, these two people, made in heaven. Ha ha ha. 2. It is estimated that everyone you are chatting with, and the two of them are similar in strength, and they can still have some common topics. Didn't you notice? The two of them are really a good match, with a face. The audience in the live broadcast room was amused. Even Gongsunli and Li Xian were both given the title of not falling in love. Gongsunli naturally didn't know that the audience in the live broadcast room had already regarded the two as CPS. If he knew, I am afraid that no matter what others say, Gongsunli would not be so close to Li Xian. At this time, inside the mouth of the killing tiger, the demon seed naturally also discovered the figure of Gongsunli Xian. These two people didn't hide it at all, they walked directly on the road of the Great Wall, and they couldn't pay attention to it. My lord, there are enemies. On the city wall, a demon seed staggered into the main hall. It didn't know how many years it had been stationed here, but this was the first time it had seen someone coming, so it was naturally panicked. Humph, someone's coming. In the main hall, a dull voice sounded. Then, a tall figure appeared, and this figure was nearly 3 meters tall. And the appearance is also fierce and vicious, and the appearance is like a black bear. It's just that it has no hair on its body, like a black mist. And the whole tiger-killing mouth is like this. This is what the demon seed looks like. The whole body is pitch black, but there is no hair, like a dark fog gathering, but there is a substance. It is the Supreme General who kills the tiger's mouth, Blackstone. It seems that the prophecy of the adults is about to come true, and the first 9 levels may have been broken. The dull voice echoed throughout the hall, making the surrounding demon seed soldiers tremble. Prophecy. The demon creep repeated. It didn't know what the prophecy was in Blackstone's mouth. And Haishi, at this moment, his eyes flashed. Is it a comeback? However, you don't know that your every move was predicted 10,000 years ago. You can't pass my level. Haishi was ruthless in his heart, it knew that the first 9 levels had been killed, and if it couldn't hold the 10th level, it would be the same fate. However, it is extremely confident. Because, from the beginning of his level, the weapons in his hands are the strongest weapons of the Great Wall Guards. Bang! The sound of dull footsteps sounded, and Blackstone walked step by step to the center of the main hall. There, an exquisitely crafted stone platform stands safely. And on top of the stone platform, there is a rifle more than a meter long. This gun, which is the Covenant-keeping gun, is silvery white throughout, and there is a red strip of cloth tied to the back of the barrel. Just placed on the stone platform, a layer of dust fell on the gun, but a ghostly light could still be seen flashing from time to time. Click. Blackstone picked up the Covenant spear and walked towards the entrance of the main hall. Killing the tiger's mouth, Gongsunli and Li Xian had almost walked to the bottom of the city gate. Buzz. Suddenly, a red laser ray swept by. It's coming. As soon as Gongsunli looked up, he saw a black figure on the city wall with a silver rifle in his hand aiming at him. That's where the laser rays come from. And this scene made several military experts in the official live broadcast room not calm. Infrared aiming. In just an instant, Huang Qi, the king of soldiers, recognized it. Infrared aiming, sniper rifles, how advanced is that world? Huang Qi's face was full of surprise, and even the lord of the country was surprised. As a professional, he knows how sophisticated a rifle needs to be. But in a world where only magic crystal cannons can be made, there is still such a weapon. His words were also directly disseminated through the live broadcast room. Suddenly, all the Xia Kingdom audience was surprised. No wonder Li Xian said he wanted Gongsunli to help. Gun. A gun that even Li Xian is afraid of? This power must be different from ours here. Could it be that Gongsunli's speed can dodge bullets? Oh my god, this. I thought that supernatural power was terrifying, but is this a combination of transcendence and technology? Yes. Look at that gun. It looks like it's accumulating. Oh my god. It's really a combination of transcendence and technology. It's over. Gongsunli can really get more bullets. Just kidding, who knows the power of this gun? Don't worry, I believe that Li Xian will not let Gongsunli put himself in danger. But that's an exaggeration. God, the level of that world must be higher than our blue star. I thought they only had extraordinary strength, but from this gun, I saw unparalleled technological. In other words, in fact, we blue star people are more like hillbillies in front of them, right? The scene in Xiaoguo's live broadcast room was publicized by many people. At this moment, everyone was stunned by what they saw in front of their eyes. Originally, they thought that the second home was just in a different direction from the development of Blue Star. One walks science and technology and the other goes extraordinary, and some people have always been superior to their own wisdom. But now, the appearance of this gun has opened another door, combining transcendence and technology. The most important thing is that this gun is a product of I don't know how many years ago. In other words, I don't know how many years ago, they had such technology, and we don't. That grandson left. Just when the real world was amazed. On the wall of the killing tiger's mouth, a burst of fire erupted. A bullet instantly passed through the void, bringing up spatial ripples, heading towards Gongsunli and Li Xian. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 172. In the air, there was white steam behind the bullets, as if the moisture in the air had burned in an instant. But Gongsunli and Li Xian, their expressions did not change from beginning to end. It's just that the giant sword on Li Xian's right hand is already glowing slightly. The golden light on the broadsword trembled and trembled, as if it was activating. Frost leaf dance. At the moment when the bullet reached the two of them, Gongsun spun around and threw out the umbrella in his hand. Huh! The red umbrella opened instantly, and a few maple leaves fell. For a while, it was so beautiful that people were reluctant to look away. Especially Li Xian is still standing next to him, which gives people a feeling of being a talented woman. Li Xian stretched out his hand and touched his face, as if he still smelled a fragrance. The hem of Gongsunli's skirt just now swept over his cheeks, making him a little distracted for a while. And at this time, people found out that the bullet that was originally fired disappeared without knowing when. Humph! Suddenly, a chuckle came from the corner of Gongsun's mouth and galloped towards the gate of the tiger's mouth. At the same time, a red maple leaf cuts through the space. Beautifully flew towards the black stone on the city wall. Humph! Shi saw Gongsunli's attack through the scope, and ducked his head to dodge. Bell! The maple leaves hit the city wall, and sparks burst out in an instant. It's as if the leaves were made of metal. So strong. On the city wall, Shi sighed a little frightened. Your Excellency. She's coming up. She was able to come straight down the wall. Suddenly, the demon seed soldier standing next to the black stone called out in a panic. I saw Gongsunli, and he was about to go under the city wall. Damn! Shi immediately gritted his teeth and stood up with the covenant spear in his arms. This time, he didn't dare to charge for too long. As soon as the red laser ray swept into Gongsunli's body, a bullet shot out. Sen Zhong returns to the moon. Gongsunli didn't frown, and used a skill as soon as he saw the infrared light. The whole person instantly appeared in another direction. What? Shi was startled. He saw that the bullet he had just hit was only on the red umbrella, and the red umbrella didn't seem to be affected at all. Still spinning in place. And Gongsunli has appeared halfway up the city wall. I saw that Gongsunli was barefoot, and when he stepped on the city wall, he could go up more than 3 meters away. Seeing that he came 2 more times, he came up directly. Damn! There's only 1 bullet left. Shi looked at Gongsunli, who was getting closer and closer, and his heart was ruthless. He had long been frightened by Gongsunli's speed, but now, he couldn't help but think about it. You go to die, it's so close, I see how you can hide. Blackstone held his gun, almost vertically towards the bottom of the city walls. The red rays of the scope shot out, just aimed at Gongsunli's eyes. But the red, it seems, was completely covered by Gongsunli's red pupils. At this time, Gongsunli was just staring at his finger on the trigger. Through the scope, Shi saw Gongsunli's pupils, and his heart contracted fiercely. The fingers on the trigger also trembled unconsciously. He knew very well in his heart that this was his last chance. After this bullet is fired, the gun is equivalent to being wasted. But if you don't fight, wait for Gongsun to leave, it will be even more doomed. Bang! Finally, the gun rang out. But Blackstone's actions at this time were frozen. He knew he was finished. At such a close distance, it is impossible to dodge the attack of bullets. But he could see very clearly, the moment he pulled the trigger, Gongsunli had disappeared from the scope. Poof! There was a muffled sound, the sound of a bullet hitting the ground under the city walls. Gongsunli, at this time, stood less than 3 meters away from there with an umbrella. It's less than 3 meters, but the result is very different. Whoosh! Suddenly, a shadow glowing with golden light passed in front of Gongsunli. Her hair fluttered wildly in an instant. Li Xian, who was originally a little far away from here, actually appeared at the city gate. Yikes! Immediately, I saw his heavy sword on display. The golden rush instantly engulfed the entire city gate of the killing tiger's mouth. Suddenly, dust rose in the doorway, and Li Zinti strode in with a heavy sword. Ali. In just 2 minutes, Li Xian walked out of the city gate again. Gongsunli was still standing in place, and everything around him didn't seem to change. But Gongsunli smelled that the smell of blood was spreading. She stood outside the city walls, not even a scream. Here you go. The next moment, Li Xian threw Gongsunli a rifle with a cold glow. It was only then that the audience in the live broadcast room reacted. The whole process, from the first gunshot to the last gunshot, took only 30 seconds. With Li Xian's finish, the time did not exceed 3 minutes. The 10th level, kill the tiger's mouth, fall. Is this considered a clearance? Really? It's so easy. This is also. That's an exaggeration, isn't it? No wonder. No wonder Li Xian was able to go straight through the first 9 levels, this speed. It's all about the two of them. It's amazing how well they work together. Today is really an eye-opener, these two people are really working together seamlessly. One relies on speed to attract firepower, and the other charges into battle. This Li Xian is like a general. The two of them are too strong to join forces. I don't believe what Xianjitsi said. Shit. I don't believe there's anyone better than these two. The live broadcast room was boiling in an instant. Because of the divination before Suanjaizi, everyone has a breath in their hearts. But now, after seeing the strength of Gongsunli and Li Xian, they are a little unconvinced. They believe that no one can beat the cooperation of Gongsunli and Li Xian. Click. And Gongsunli was still fiddling with the rifle in his hand. Let's go. Li Xian glanced into the distance. 2 more levels. Li Xian's eyes sank slightly. The last 2 levels are handed over to me. Huh. Gongsunli, who was fiddling with his rifle, raised his head suspiciously. I don't know why, she senses that Li Xian is getting more and more wrong. It's like, he's leaving. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 173. But when I saw Li Xian's back, I felt that I was thinking too much. After all, the strength of the two is here. Couldn't figure it out, so he didn't think about it anymore. Gongsunli took Yu and walked 2 steps quickly to keep up with Li Xian. The 11th Guanjiao should be Xianxi's weapon. Li Xian's voice floated among the lofty mountains. Gongsunli sat on Yo-Yo's back and nodded lightly. Wow! There was a sound of chains clashing. Jiao, a demon seed, seemed to have sensed it, and with a solemn expression, he picked up the pair of Fei Lian on the stone platform. Woo-woo! Fei Lian streaked through, and there was a sound of breaking the air in the air. Looking closely, Fei Lian seems to be stained with a trace of blood, which looks a little terrifying. The ghostly light that flashed from time to time on Fei Lian seemed to tell his own terrible. It's just a pity that in the hands of the demon seed, this Fei Lian is like no life, just a weapon. Big. 2 people are coming towards Jiao. At this moment, a demon soldier ran in a panic. I see. The demon seed took Fei Lian in his hand, and walked out with a faint promise. 5 minutes later, Jiao. Under the tattered city gates. Dang Chang. There was a crunch. Li Xian threw Fei Lian in front of Gongsunli. Whoa! Gongsunli bent down to pick it up, as if her job was to collect the spoils. A faint smell of blood began to appear in the air. The audience in the live broadcast room looked at the godlike man holding the golden giant sword, silent. This time, Gongsunli did not make a move from beginning to end. Even, she sat on Yo-Yo's back and didn't move. The entire Jiao, under Li Xian's giant sword, did not survive for 5 minutes. I've always been an atheist, but now, I'm a little bit of a convincing. Li Xian, just like the gods of heaven, the gods judge sin. You say, will there really be a god in that world? Isn't Li Xian The audience in the live broadcast room was shocked by the scene in front of them and didn't know what to say. I could only look at the backs of Gongsunli and Li Xian, and secretly tongued. At this time, Gongsunli and Li Xian had already gone to the next target, Yangguan. An hour later. The 12 passes of the Great Wall, Yangguan. The dilapidated towers and the beacon fires raging everywhere look extremely desolate. And in the midst of the raging fire, an Optimus Prime-like thing was standing quietly. Gongsunli and Li Xian stood outside, looking at Optimus Prime, who was surrounded by fire. This fire was planted by the demon seed himself before the Yang Pass was breached. Wow! Li Xian swung his giant sword, and suddenly a strong wind blew. The flames that were originally burning were extinguished in an instant. Optimus Prime has finally revealed its true face. This is a round stone pillar, almost 2 meters high on the ground. It gives people the feeling that in addition to being heavy, if it weren't for what I had just seen, I wouldn't have believed that anyone would use this pillar as a weapon. Gongsunli seems to have said just now, this is the weapon of the Great Wall Guards. No. Who can hold this stone as a weapon? Yes, although the weapon of the mobile phone in front looks a little strange, it is acceptable, but this pillar. It's an exaggeration, and if that's true, how tall should the person using it be? Could it be that the Great Wall Guards are really much stronger than we thought? It's like the monkey in Journey to the West, so this is a weapon. In the live broadcast room, countless viewers looked at the stone pillars in front of them and put forward their own guesses. Whew! And Gongsunli didn't say a word, and directly put it into the ring. The weapons of the Great Wall Guards, are they all ready? Gongsunli looked at Li Xian. She knew that Li Xian knew a lot of things. But he doesn't say, and she doesn't ask. All right, the commander's weapon is in her own hands. Li Xian tightened the giant sword in his hand and said slowly. Okay, let's continue. The last level is over, and it is estimated that the last fragment of the core of the Ark is also there. Gongsunli said, and with Yu, he was ready to walk forward. Ali. Suddenly, Li Xian's voice pierced through. What's wrong? Gongsunli looked back and saw Li Xian standing still and not moving. Is there any special case for the last level? Gongsun couldn't see Li Xian's strange appearance at this time, and immediately asked. Li Xian nodded slowly. The last level, Jade Gate. It's not the demon seed that's stationed there. Li Xian looked at Gongsunli and said word by word. Not a demon seed. Gongsunli was surprised for a while, and then frowned. It's not a demon seed. It's related to the king's background, not a demon seed. And Li Xian's current state. It was almost not difficult for her to guess that the person stationed there must be a certain hero like her and Li Xian. Suddenly, Gongsunli suddenly found that he had figured out a lot at once. Chang'an City, Thousand Cave City and all other traces of the king's continent have all disappeared. Could it be that a certain hero on the king did it? Thinking of this, Gongsunli looked at Li Xian, his eyes full of doubts. And Li Xian naturally knew what Gongsunli had guessed. Yumen Pass, garrisoned, is a clergyman. But I don't know which one it is. Hearing Li Xian's words, Gongsunli's eyes suddenly widened. Clergy. Gongsunli carefully recalled the background of the king. Clergyman. Clergy. Descendants, Neza, Yangjian. In just an instant, 3 figures appeared in Gongsunli's mind. Thinking of this, her heart also skipped a beat, and she finally knew why Li Xian had been worried. But then he smiled again. She is different from these heroes now. With equipment. Let's go, I'll meet them. Although I don't know why these heroes are on the opposite side. But in her heart, combined with the background of the king she remembered, she almost guessed it. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 174. The last level of the Great Wall, the 13th level, the Jade Gate. This checkpoint stands at the end of the Great Wall. The entire level is made of cyan stone bricks, but it is carved with all kinds of strange patterns. It was originally a simple and solemn level, but because of the patterns on it, it looked a little weird. Just by looking at it, the Jade Gate is completely different from the other 12 levels. If the current Jade Gate is compared to the Imperial Palace, then the other 12 checkpoints are private houses. The interior of the Jade Gate Pass is also completely different from the other 12 passes. The guards stationed here are wearing blue armor. Just like the Red Armor Army in Chang'an City, all kinds of troops are very complete. In the city, there is no feeling of black smoke and miasma at all. It's as if it's really an iron-blooded barrier, and its destiny is to repel all invading enemies. Although Gongsunli and Li Xian have not yet come here. But Kane, it's as if you know something in advance. A large number of soldiers shuttled through the city from time to time. It was as if a big war was about to take place. And at the very top of the Yumen Pass, there was a ball of light suspended in the air, like the sun, radiating its own light to the surroundings. Jade Gate. Gongsunli and Li Xian turned the last corner and finally saw the Yumen Pass. It's different. Gongsunli muttered in his mouth, in her eyes, this Jade Gate is a great pass built by the combination of transcendence and technology. Let's go. Li Xian said lightly, and then continued to walk forward. However, his voice was a little low, as if he was suppressing something. Even the footsteps were louder than before. Gongsunli and Li Xian walked directly towards the Jade Gate like this, without the slightest idea of hiding their figures. Because there is no need. Both of them could sense the powerful existence in the Jade Gate. The two of them were definitely discovered a long time ago. Click. Smack. The footsteps of Youyu and Li Xian were a little harsh on the Great Wall. Gongsunli sat on Youyu's back, brushing his hair with his hands from time to time, but his attention was always paying attention to the situation at Yumen Pass. This is the second king role after Li Xian, so she can't help but be unconcerned, let alone her opponent. These two breaths. When the Jade Gate was closed, the guards on the city wall saw Gongsunli and Li Xian, and their eyes immediately widened in horror. They hadn't seen Gongsunli and Li Xian, but they clearly felt that the aura on these two people was a little similar to the aura of their Yumen Pass guards. This. The guard was about to go back to report it, but at this moment, the ball of light that had been hanging on the Jade Gate had changed. The guards on the city wall immediately knelt down facing the ball of light. Don't care, open the gates. The ball of light in mid-air began to tremble, and a man's voice came from inside. The guards shuddered when they heard this. Hit. Open the gates. They didn't know what it meant, and the gate of the Jade Gate had not been opened since the first day they were stationed here. Open. Buzz. As another man's voice came out, the light from the ball of light became brighter and brighter. Slowly, a figure walked out of the ball of light. Seeing this scene, all the guards in the Jade Gate Pass lowered their heads. Greetings. I saw a figure coming out of the ball of light, dressed in yellow armor with red lines embroidered on it, like a flame. The man's face looked a little thin, but it also looked resolute. The eyebrows and hair are white. The whole person has an explosive power just by looking at it. This person is Ho Yi, but now, he is not holding a longbow in his hand. Open the door. Ho Yi looked at the two backs that were walking towards the Jade Gate Pass, and said slowly. The guards couldn't help but wonder why it was a pickup. Squeak. There was a loud noise, and the gate of the Jade Gate was slowly pushed open. Then a pair of guards ran out and stood on both sides of the city gate, waiting for the arrival of Gongsun and the two of them. At this time, Gongsunli and Li Xian naturally saw everything that happened in the Guanyi clearly. Glowing Chen. How Yi. Seeing the figure on the city wall clearly, Gongsunli exclaimed that he was born. Li Xian turned his head to look at her, a smile curled up at the corner of his mouth, and said jokingly, "What? You can't beat it?" Gongsun snorted disdainfully. "Let's open 5-5. This is all based on her experience in her previous life, just talking about ordinary attacks. Hou Yi and her are indeed indistinguishable. Now she thought that if only her electric knife could be replaced with the bow of the sun. However, the audience in the live broadcast room, after hearing the conversation between Gongsunli and Li Xian, went completely crazy. "What? What do you mean? After? Hou Yi? That's not. Isn't that a character from a myth?" Gongsunli said that the man on the city wall is Hou Yi. Is it the Hou Yi who shot 9 sons? No. You didn't hear clearly. The most terrible thing is that Gongsun left her. She said she could score 5 or 5 points with Hou Yi. No, I have to search for Hou Yi's legends. At this moment, the audience in Xiaguo felt that they were about to cry. This time, Gongsun Li's shock to them was more terrible than ever. Originally, familiar characters such as Chang'an and Wu Zetian were enough for people to digest. Now it's almost over, and there is another Hou Yi. This was unacceptable for a moment. Including those foreigners who are paying attention to the live broadcast room of Xiaguo. The legendary gods of the Xia kingdom actually appeared in the second home. Oh God, what the hell is going on? Can we see our own God in it? Will Jesus, Satan, appear? Oh my God! That man with long white hair can shoot down the sun in the myths and legends of the Xia kingdom. How did this world suddenly become strange? The whole world is in a state of madness. God! If this Hou Yi is proven to be true, then the perception of all people in the world will have to be changed. There really is a God in the world. We can't verify whether this Hou Yi is true or not, so we can only wait for Gongsunli to explain himself. In the official live broadcast room, all the experts looked at the lord of the country with blank eyes, and wanted him to send a barrage to ask Gongsunli. At times like these, no one can stay calm at all. Including all the viewers in the live broadcast room, they all looked at the lord of the country tightly through the barrage at this time, hoping that he would confirm it. This kind of thing is just too against the sky. The lord of the country slowly typed a line on the keyboard with trembling hands. Is this Hou Yi the same as the Hou Yi in the myths and legends of the Xia kingdom? At this time, the lord of the country forgot to even use the usual polite words. Gongsunli looked at the barrage floating in front of him, remembered the CP of Hou Yi and Chang Yi in the game, and thought about the sun towers destroyed by Hou Yi in the background of the king, and the sun seemed to be no different. Then he spoke slowly. Perhaps. Excuse me. Gongsunli's voice was like a sigh, and people all over the world stopped breathing at this moment. God. Gongsunli and Hou Yi can fight 5 or 5. Doesn't it mean that Gongsunli is also a god? National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 175. Is there really a god in the world? The gods in the myths and stories of the Xia kingdom are actually in the second home. No, myths and stories are in the past, and now they are not called stories. This world is terrible. Gongsunli actually said that she and Hou Yi had a 5-5 fight. Oh my God! Could it be? In the second home, they are all characters of the same period. Is the world passage really going to be opened? Won't we be in the same world with the gods then? Maybe countless years ago, we would have lived with the gods, otherwise there wouldn't have been so many myths. This god of the East has come out, but what about our god of the West? No, there are so many myths and legends, are they all in their second home? Is all this true? Could it be that our blue star was such a colorful world like a second home countless years ago? Are all the unsolved mysteries recorded in those ancient books that have been handed down for thousands of years true? The entire Blue Star was in turmoil at this time because of Ho Yi's appearance. At this time, various countries sent people to sort out the myths and legends handed down by the people. Especially in Xiaguo, now everyone is focusing on Gongsunli, in addition to paying attention to Ho Yi. From the very beginning, they thought that Gongsunli was a lucky little girl, but later found out that she seemed to be an antiquarian, and finally learned that she was actually an extraordinary person. And she is still very powerful, she can teleport, and when everyone thought that she knew Gongsunli well enough, she suddenly said that she could fight with Ho Yi. Who is Ho Yi? The man who shot the 9 sons in legend. Everyone in Xiaguo grew up listening to his stories. Gongsunli's figure was infinitely elevated at this moment. In the eyes of everyone, Gongsunli, who had already unveiled the veil, became mysterious again. Including Li Xian. Could it be that that world is full of gods? Such thoughts have come to the minds of countless people. However, no matter how much they guessed, they couldn't guess why. It's just that some people have already begun to fear the opening of the world passage, because it is obvious. These gods, like human beings, are at war, and it will be impossible for human beings to compete with gods with today's technology alone. But no matter how much you say, it's useless, and no one can stop the mysterious existence. It's just that everyone has a new understanding of Gongsunli's identity. The second home, above the Jade Gate. Ho Yi stood there quietly, his eyes looking at the 2 people who were walking towards him, and a trace of envy flashed in his eyes. At this time, Li Xian walked in front, and Gongsunli sat on Yu Yu's back and followed him. Plus such a spectacular view of the Great Wall. At this time, Gongsunli and Li Xian looked like a pair of chivalrous people wandering the world, which made people yearn for it infinitely. After all these years, you finally meet again. Above the jade door closed, Ho Yi looked at the 2 of them and couldn't help but let out a soft whisper. It's as if he was lamenting Gongsunli and Li Xian. It's just that there is a hint of sadness in his eyes for some reason. But my... Ho Yi's expression was full of nostalgia, as if he remembered someone, and there was a slight pain in his heart. Come on, I'll get you out soon. Ho Yi raised his right hand and looked at the crescent-shaped sign in the palm of his hand, his eyes were full of tenderness. After a long time, Ho Yi clenched his fists tightly. When he raised his head again, his eyes had regained his calmness. It's like nothing happened. However, the crescent moon symbol in the palm of his right hand seemed to light up as if it had sensed something. Unfortunately, he didn't notice. Li Xian and Gongsunli walked under the gate of Yumen Pass and glanced at the open gate. Then they looked at each other again. Let's go. Li Xian raised his legs and walked in first. Gongsunli followed, although he didn't know why Ho Yi would open the gate and wait for them. But obviously, this Ho Yi didn't want to start fighting now. As for whether there will be danger in Kane, the 2 of them can still perceive it clearly in advance. So I went straight to the city gate. Back to the city. When Gongsunli walked in, the 2 teams of guards outside the gate quickly closed the city gate again. The huge jade gate pass once again regained its calm. Entering the gate, Gongsunli sat on Yo Yu's back, looked left and right, and felt fresh everywhere. So far, she has seen a lot of cities, and she has seen several big cities on the mainland. It's just that it's the first time I've seen an iron-blooded castle like this. Everything in the past seems to be prepared for war. But here, again, there was no war. Both. At this moment, a guard in blue armor and holding a long knife ran over. 2 adults, the priest is waiting for you, please. The guard saluted respectfully, and then led the 2 of them directly to the city wall. Ho Yi was still standing on the edge of the city wall. Kuth. Li Xian touched the blade of the giant sword in his hand to the ground, and suddenly a spark burst out, and he didn't speak, just looked at Ho Yi. Gongsunli sat on Yu Yu's back and looked at Hao Yi in front of him quietly. She found that this Hao Yi was really exactly the same as the one in the king. Looks okay, decent. Unconsciously, Gongsunli's thoughts ran away a little. The audience in the live broadcast room didn't dare to gasp when they watched this scene. Although none of the three of them have the posture to fight. But I don't know why, a nervousness unconsciously rises in my heart. If Gongsun leaves a girl, he won't suffer, right? What are you talking about? It's obviously not a fight. Don't worry, Li Xian is here, and Gongsun Li is not weak. Okay, I want to see how strong Sister Gongsun Li's strength is. Gongsun Li seems to have never shown his true strength from beginning to end. It's so cute, you look at Gongsun Li's expression, isn't it? Don't. Isn't it a nymphomaniac against Hou Yi at this time? Li Xian looks good. What are you talking about? Maybe it's an old friend. Old friends, do you think these people look like old friends? In the live broadcast room, looking at Gongsun Li's quiet expression, the audience couldn't help but discuss. She looked so leisurely, as if she had lived in the Suanwei temple. Humph. Finally, Hou Yi made a move. You too, you're so lucky. Hou Yi turned his head with a hint of a smile on his face. It's just that Gongsun Li keenly noticed that this smile was unnatural, and it seemed to have a hint of bitterness. However, Li Xian and her did not answer. Because of this, Li Xian didn't know how to answer it, but Gongsun Li scolded directly in his heart. Hou Yi also seemed to notice that something was wrong with the two, and immediately touched his nose in embarrassment. Then, with a flash of light in his hand, an object appeared. Here you go. Hou Yi threw it directly to Li Xian. It's my gift to you. Smack. Li Xian stretched out his hand to catch it, glanced at it, and then a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Thanks. Subsequently, Li Xintho didn't reply, and directly threw the thing to Gongsun Li. Gongsun Li was standing next to him, wondering what it was. Instinctively, I reached for it. Pray for the snow spirit. The next moment, Gongsun Li's eyes widened. In her ring, there are still 9 fragments, plus this one, it's all together. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 176. Ding. A crisp sound that only Gongsunli could hear. Immediately, she saw a curtain of light rising in front of her eyes, and a light rose from the light curtain, and a very distinctive costume was in the glow, which was Qi Shueling's skin. Pray for the snow spirit. Characteristics: auspicious, everywhere you go, the evil is scattered, one of the 4 auspicious Rui. Attacks come with the ice ability, which reduces the target's action speed. The introduction of the prayer is very simple, but this function is extremely not simple. Gongsun Li's eyes widened directly, because the skin actually had its own attributes. And its 2 attributes, the first kind of auspiciousness, I don't know what to use for the time being, but in the first article of the introduction, it's definitely not simple. The second one is much more straightforward, reducing the speed of the target's action. How perverted is this? There weren't many people who could have withstood her attack, but now with this speed reducing buff and her own body style, wouldn't anyone be a live target in front of her? This time the Great Wall, even if there is no other harvest, has already been earned. Who would dare to think that this last piece of fragment is actually in Hou Yi's hands? Then, Gongsun Li quietly put the last piece of skin fragment of the prayer snow spirit into the ring. Then he looked up at Hou Yi, and at this time, it was obviously not suitable for her to change her clothes. She wondered what Hou Yi meant. It seems to be different from what she and Li Xian predicted before. The expected fierce battle does not seem to have begun. Gongsunli got off Yu's back, stepped barefoot on the city wall, and looked into the distance with Hao Yi and Li Xian. I have to say that the scenery of the Great Wall is really a must. And she also felt that on her right arm, Nan Nan seemed to be a little unable to sit still. The Great Wall, where the dragon vein is still the ancestral dragon vein. This is particularly attractive to the women. Sister Huang. Gongsunli sighed, but still released Nanan. After all, this time she came to the Great Wall, her goal was here. As soon as Nan Nan came out, she hugged Gongsunli's arm, and her little face rubbed against Gongsunli's arm, looking extremely intimate. As if he knew something, Hou Yi turned his head and glanced at the little girl. Smiling and opening. This dragon vein of the Great Wall, you little guy can't stand it? Hou Yi looked at Nanan. This dragon vein is already linked to the true God, and it can't be moved. Hearing Hou Yi's words, Nan Nan closed her eyes, as if she was feeling something carefully. And Gongsunli is also thinking. True God. After a while, Nanan finally opened her eyes, but a loss flashed on her face. She did feel that the dragon vein of the Great Wall had roots, but that root no longer seemed to be in this world. Gongsunli and Nanan have the same heart, so it is naturally clear. At this time, Hou Yi's voice sounded. I know that Li Xian escaped the catastrophe after 9 deaths, but I don't know how you escaped the punishment of the true God. A trace of remembrance flashed on Hou Yi's face. Hearing his words, the people in the live broadcast room couldn't take their eyes off at the moment. It's as if they just want to know some secret. As for Gongsunli, he seemed to have guessed something, and his expression changed slightly. Hou Yi's gaze swept over Gongsunli again, and finally fixed his gaze on Li Xian. I need help. Hou Yi's voice was a little low, and Gongsunli blinked. Gongsunli's body has the breath of not belonging to this world. I think, she is our last hope. Hou Yi's eyes kept on Li Xian. It's as if Li Xian is the person in charge. It's a pity that Li Xian listened to Hou Yi's words and only lowered his eyes slightly. Ali can't remember the past, I can't be the master for her. Li Xian tightened the giant sword in his hand, and his voice was a little bitter. But Hou Yi's expression was stagnant. Immediately, a wry smile appeared on his face. I see, I'm still wondering, you don't seem as close as you used to be. After saying this, there was silence on the city wall again. And Gongsunli, as if he hadn't heard the two talking, was teasing Nan Nan beside him. She could tell that she was a bug now, even though she didn't know what the difference was. But one thing is for sure, you can't do without yourself. Since this is the case, I am not afraid that Hou Yi will not speak. After a long time, Hou Yi turned around, glanced at Yu intentionally or unintentionally, and slowly raised his left hand. In an instant, a black light flashed. I saw that on Hou Yi's left hand, a square crystal appeared, which was a fragment of the core of the ark. And the last piece of fragment. Gongsunli also calmed down Nanan, and looked at the crystal with a solemn expression. She had 3 pieces in her hand, and with this one, it was the complete core of the ark. Hou Yi looked at the core fragment in his hand and slowly spoke, as if he was explaining to Gongsunli. This is it, the force of creation, the core of the ark. Back then, the demon race was prevalent on the continent, and although the humans and the demon race on the continent were constantly at war, they could be regarded as reaching a state of balance. But then the true God came, regarded the demon seed as an evil thing, and led the priests to sweep the entire continent, and countless demon seeds were all subdued in a very short world, and all were imprisoned in the Tower of the Sun, running the Tower of the Sun day and night, providing energy to the continent. But the good times don't last long. The Tower of the Sun draws on the power of the world's origin, and the day it is finally exhausted, with the disappearance of the demon seed, the world is developing rapidly, and soon there will be a lack of life. At this time, People also knew that the Tower of the Sun was just a wrong decision of the true God, so they questioned the true God one after another. And how can the true God admit that he is wrong? However, the true God also knows that the Tower of the Sun will continue to function, and in the end the whole world will collapse, so he sent me to destroy all the Tower of the Sun. However, before this, the various races in the world have had countless wars with the Protoss, and if you directly destroy the Tower of the Sun, countless more races will perish. But I am a priest, and my existence is to serve the true God, and I destroyed 9 of the 10 towers of the sun, and the last one. When Ho Yi said this, he suddenly lost his voice. And then, Gongsunli's voice suddenly sounded. You didn't destroy the last one, because the race that lives under the 10th tower of the sun is the race of your lover Chang'e. Gongsunli's words made Ho Yi stunned for a moment, and then he smiled bitterly. Yes, Chang'e's race, when the 9 sun towers were destroyed in the front, the world was already in chaos, but Yang Jian and Neza, who were on a mission with me, were out of the control of the true God early. It's just me, stupid to do things for the true God. Ho Yi's voice at this time was full of sadness. You have also seen that the true God is angry, and directly uses the great supernatural power to imprison all the people in the entire world in his own space, and waits for the origin of the world to recover independently. And I, who don't even have the power to be imprisoned, was left here. But I know that in another world, Chang'e is suffering under the Tower of the Sun, and is still waiting for me to save her. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 177. Ho Yi's expression was a little excited. But on my own, it's not enough. Later, I knew that Li Xian was still there, and I knew. Ho Yi's eyes looked at Yu behind Gongsunli, and his tone was stunned. Knowing that there is still you, and you have the breath of other worlds in your body, the true God cannot lock you, so our greatest hope is in you. Looking at Gongsunli, Ho Yi continued. Once you collect the core fragments of the Ark, it will open the door to the space where the true God is located, and everyone will have a chance to see the light of day again. But where would the true God make it so easy for us? Ho Yi looked at the core fragment in his hand, and his tone was solemn. The true gods were wrong in the beginning, but they would rather imprison everyone than admit their mistakes, and until now, the last tower of the sun is still pumping energy to keep the space running. Ho Yi turned around, looked at Gongsunli and said, I need your help, open the core of the Ark, let me save Chang'e, and destroy the last tower of the sun. That space has no energy to sustain it, even if it is a true God, it will not be able to continue to imprison those people. Ho Yi's eyes looked at Gongsunli, as if he had a pleading meaning. At this time, Gongsun finally understood the meaning of the core existence of the Ark. In an instant, she understood a lot. Mingxian, who once had clues, including Wuzation in Chang'an City later, is probably in that space now. Is it Nuwa, Athena, and Pangu? Gongsun thought that there seemed to be only these 3 true gods in the king's background. Open the core of the Ark, and when the time comes, as long as the weapons of the Great Wall Guards are in place, with the strength of the 5 holy beasts and the 5 mountains, plus everyone, it is inevitable that they will not be able to fight with the true gods. In the first place, the true God only took everyone in one fell swoop by suddenly starting a war, otherwise such a thing would not have happened. Ho Yi's voice was a little eager, as if he was persuading Gongsunli and Li Xian. And Li Xian just waved the giant sword in his hand twice, and did not make a sound. He himself traveled across the continent for the sake of the core of the Ark, where he had his companions, and he naturally wanted to save them. Now, it's just a matter of seeing Gongsun leave. It's just that Ho Yi and Li Xian glanced at each other, and then Li Xian shook his head slightly. It seems that the two of them still have some secrets to hide from Gongsunli without saying it. At this time, Lan Xing, Xiaoguo's live broadcast room, Everyone looked dumb. Every viewer in front of the TV and mobile phone opened their mouths, as if they had lost their consciousness. This. In the middle of the night, a barrage floated through the live broadcast room. What did I hear? Isn't the legendary Hou-Yi a true god? Is this the second home? It's very similar to the legend of our Xia kingdom. Is the 10 sun towers the meaning of 10 suns? Oh my god, who is the true god? Even Hou-Yi has to ask Gongsunli, what should Gongsunli's identity be? Did you hear that? Chang'e, that's right. If there is Hou-Yi, then there will naturally be Chang'e, but Chang'e is actually imprisoned. My worldview, today, has completely collapsed. If this is true, then isn't this second home about to undergo a big change? Will Gongsunli be in danger? How powerful should the true gods in Hou-Yi and Gongsunli's mouths be? How I wish it was a TV series, but it's true. Next 0. Isn't it next? Are they going to challenge the true god? How many mythological characters are there, and why are Yang Jian and Neza also? Yang Jian, Neza, those two are also mythical characters of our Xia kingdom. Listening to Hou-Yi's meaning, the two great gods like Yang Jian and Neza have been imprisoned. Oh my god. It's terrifying. This second home is far more terrifying than our blue star. But the most terrifying thing is that in our blue star, there are their stories. Doesn't this mean that in ancient times, these people really appeared in our blue star? All the blue star people, looking at the picture in the live broadcast room, were all stunned. At this time, where are they still in the mood to pay attention to the vanguard of their country? Even if the pioneers of one's own country are related to one's own quality of life. These people are starting to get a little out of the way. Because sooner or later, the World Channel will open. Instead of praying for the pioneers to win glory for their country, it is better to learn about the situation of the second home. When the World Passage opens, maybe you can get a head start by entering your second home. I have to say that many people's concept of home and country has begun to weaken, because their pioneers have not helped their country get anything. On the other hand, those countries with strong pioneers are crazy at this time to send messages to their pioneers to introduce their second home. I'm afraid I'll fall too far behind. Open the core of the ark and fight against the true gods. Gongsunli said lightly. Yes. Hou-Yi took a step forward and looked at Gongsunli. When the time comes, you will have the respect of all, true God. It seems to me that their time has passed, and you are different, I said. You have the breath of another world in you. This is variable. Although I don't know why the variables are in you, I feel that in the future, you are the protagonist of heaven and earth. Hou-Yi's expression was extremely serious. And Gongsunli also fell into deep thought. She remembered the mysterious voice that opened the second home, as if these people didn't know the voice either. She thought that Hou-Yi was talking about that voice. Because every time she completes a big process, she pushes the connection between the second home and the real world. Thinking of this, Gongsunli took out the other 3 core fragments from the ring. Then he took the fragment in Hou-Yi's hand. Please. Hou-Yi threw a fist at Gongsunli, and then slowly stepped back. But his right hand was raised. The entire space on the right hand seemed to be affected in an instant, and it turned distorted. Then there was redness, and slowly, clusters of flames appeared out of thin air. Then Hou-Yi's right hand was clenched, as if he couldn't feel the flames burning at all. Buzz. With a soft sound, the flame grew larger and larger in his hand, and slowly took on the shape of a bow. Woo! With a wave of Hou-Yi's hand, the flames were extinguished, and a golden longbow appeared, with a raging flame burning on it. A devastating aura emanated from the longbow. At this time, he was already dozens of meters away from Gongsunli. Hou-Yi held the longbow in front of his chest and slowly pulled the bowstring. The golden rays converged, and an arrow appeared out of thin air, and the same flames burned on it. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 178. In an instant, a golden tip of power spread across the city walls. Whew! The wind blew, and one of Li Xian's hair swayed and fell down. But it has already been reduced to ashes before it has even landed. It is enough to imagine how powerful this arrow must have been. Whoa! Li Xian picked up the giant sword from the ground and walked towards Hou Yi. Ali, take care of yourself. A voice full of concern came into Gongsunli's ears. I saw Li Xian standing next to Hou Yi, holding the giant sword with both hands. Above the giant sword, the golden light skyrocketed, and even the light of the ball of light above the jade gate seemed to be covered by the light on the giant sword. Another extremely majestic wave actually spreads. Click. Even the city walls don't seem to be able to withstand such power, and there are cracks. And Gongsunli stood in front of the two of them, and there was no doubt that the pressure was the greatest. At this time, a trace of solemnity flashed on her face. Yo-Yo, prepare to retreat. Gongsunli instructed Yo-Yo beside him, lifted the four core fragments in his hand above his head, and slowly moved closer. The light in the eyes of Hou Yi and Li Xian became more and more gloomy. His eyes were firmly fixed on the fragments in Gongsunli's hand. Kuth. The four core fragments, as if being pulled by the tug, slowly approached, and eventually, completely combined, they became a larger cube. Then, the entire core of the ark, as if out of gravity, slowly flew towards the sky. And, the surface began to glow blue. A mysterious aura escapes from it. Ali! Come back! At this time, Li Xian's voice came from a distance, and Gongsunli instantly came back to his senses. Yo-Yo! Let's go! Gongsunli sat on Yu-Yu's back in a flash, and Yu-Yu immediately ran behind Li Xian and Hou Yi. In a split second, it appeared in the other direction of the city wall. At this time, the core of the ark had also risen to a height of dozens of meters from the city wall. The light on the surface is getting stronger and stronger, and even the original appearance of the ark can no longer be seen. True God, are you coming out? In the live broadcast room, all the audience's eyes widened. Like Gongsunli and the others, he looked closely at the core of the ark above the sky. Looked at the backs of Hou Yi and Li Xian. Gongsunli suddenly had a feeling of being forgotten. She didn't know why she felt this way. She always felt that there would be an accident between the two of them for a while, and she was inevitably a little uneasy in her heart. However, it was too late to do anything, and the opening of the core of the ark could not be stopped. At this time, the sky of the entire Great Wall had completely darkened, and the blue light emitted by the small core of the ark could cover the entire sky. It was dark in an instant. Li Xian tightened the giant sword in his hand, his eyes flickered, and he didn't know what he was thinking. And the longbow in Hou Yi's hand has also been drawn for a full moon, and the flames on the bow are even more shocking. In the void, the original location of the core of the ark actually appeared a black hole at this time. The black hole swirled like a whirlpool, and just looking at it made one feel like it could devour everything. And it's still amplifying. It's coming. Gongsunli stared at the black hole tightly, and suddenly, her eyes narrowed, and she felt the abnormality in the black hole. And even now, the descendants and Li Xian have also made moves. Glowing. One is enough. The longbow in Hou Yi's hand hummed softly, and a flaming arrow swished towards the black vortex in the air. But that's not the end. The arrow actually let out a cry in the air, and the next moment, it turned into a fire phoenix. The fire phoenix flapped its wings and instantly pierced the night sky and flew towards the black hole. I use my sword to cut the yellow spring. At this moment, Li Xian's burst of shouting came, and the next moment, the sky suddenly flashed. Behind the fire phoenix, 5 golden sword rays appeared out of thin air. The sword Mang, carrying the momentum of destroying the world and destroying the earth, followed closely behind the fire phoenix and headed towards the black hole. The people in the live broadcast room were already dumbfounded at this time. This scene is really spectacular. And just when the fire phoenix and the sword were about to touch the black hole, a sharp female voice came from inside the black hole. Ah! The voice carried an incomparably majestic and divine momentum, and in the black hole, a white light lit up, slowly forming a circular shield. The next moment, in the midst of all the shocked eyes, the fire phoenix and the sword slammed into the white light. Boom! A deafening explosion roared, and the whole world seemed to shake violently. Even the blue glow that had completely covered the entire sky escaped a little. But the next moment, a scene that everyone didn't expect happened. Listen. Throughout the sky, there was a sudden sound of ice crystals colliding. In the next moment, countless pale blue light flew out of the black hole, slowly spreading downward along the black hole. Seeing this scene, the audience in the live broadcast room was instantly dumbfounded. Lu. Stairs. A staircase made of ice out of thin air. I saw the pale blue light slowly descending, and where it passed. At this time, a row of incomparably ornate stairs appeared. Against the backdrop of the black sky, the staircase looks extremely sacred and magnificent, like a work of art. However, this is not the end. The blue transparent staircase still appears out of thin air one step at a time. It was as if it was a staircase that led from heaven to earth. Gongsunli looked at the familiar scene in front of him and already knew who was coming. Athena. Gongsun muttered from his mouth, his eyes staring at the black hole. Athena. The audience who has been staying in the live broadcast room is stagnant. The name was so familiar to them that a figure flashed in their minds. It was the goddess of wisdom and beauty in ancient Roman legends. Kick. The next moment, suddenly there was another sound of footsteps in the live broadcast room. I saw a figure appear in front of the black hole. One, like a woman's figure. He wore an ice blue crown on his head, long yellow hair, an ice blue skirt that reached just above his knees, and a pair of black and blue boots on his legs. In his left hand he held a shield, and in his right hand, he was holding a spear. The whole person just looks like it gives people an incomparably cold feeling, and in addition, there is nobility. Wow! Athena walked down the stairs step by step, each step as if it were striking at the heart. Behind her, there were countless blue armored creeps. And the next moment, the figures of Li Xian and Ho Yi suddenly moved. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 179. Don't let them come. Li Xian and Ho Yi glanced at each other. The god of light has fallen. Now, let the light lead me. Shine through. Li Xian waved the giant sword in his hand, as if a golden sun had been slashed out in the night sky. For a moment, the sky shone with golden rays, as if it was about to tear the sky. Even the ice-blue staircase that was slowly forming was stagnant, as if it had been resisted, and it became extremely slow. I don't see each other in this life. Ho Yi's resolute voice sounded, and above the golden longbow, the fire burned brightly. Zheng. The next moment, the bowstring trembled, and an arrow shot into the ice-blue mist in the blink of an eye. Crackle. Under the originally dark night sky, the ice-blue staircase full of beauty made a crisp sound and cracked. Even the stairs at Athena's feet began to blur. The blue-armored creeps behind her were unsteady on their feet, and some were about to fall down the stairs. The ice-blue fog no longer continued to move downward, but seemed to be about to dissipate. Dense ice-blue debris fell from the sky. Against the backdrop of the night, this scene is incomparably beautiful, but it hides a terrifying killing intention. Blue Star, now almost everyone around the world is crowded in the Xiaguo live broadcast room, and everyone looks at the screen in front of them in horror. God. Ha. I see. It turns out that Athena, our Western goddess of wisdom, is also a true god. There really is a god, but the god of their Xia kingdom is fighting our god in the West. Is it possible? And that pioneer Gongsunli of the Xia kingdom. Athena. There really is Athena in the world, but there is still a war between the gods and the gods. Kill, Athena, kill the vanguard of their Xia kingdom, and it's all over. Yes. Kill. Kill Gongsunli. They don't have Gongsunli, they have no other skills. This Gongsunli has a secret on his body, which is the most important thing. At this time, in the live broadcast room of Xia Kingdom, they were originally very puzzled about the identity of the true god who made Houyi jealous in the mythological stories of Xia Kingdom. Now that they saw Athena, they were all overwhelmed. See. Our Western god is the true god. Not even your Houyi, let alone your vanguard. Xiaguo, I see if you have anything else to say, see. Even in the world of gods, Athena is still crushing your Xia kingdom? This. What the hell is going on? Is Athena the true god of their mouths? Can you beat it? Why? What about the gods of our world? Isn't it still said that there are Yang Jian and Neza? Now that the core of the ark is open, what about them? Our Xia kingdom has a history of thousands of years, how can there be no true gods? Erlang god, Neza, where is it? At this time, in the real world, there was a fierce quarrel in the live broadcast room of Xiaguo. The audience of the Western countries trembled with excitement, because for now, their legendary god, Athena. It seems that he has the most amazing appearance and the strongest strength. Suddenly, the pride in my heart came out. And the audience of Xiaguo, because of this huge contrast, did not react for a while. But at this time, in the live broadcast room, Gongsunli's dreamlike voice suddenly came out. Athena, but a janitor. Suddenly, the originally tense live broadcast room instantly quieted down. Look. Janitor. Athena. Athena is a janitor. What did I hear? In the live broadcast room, everyone opened their mouths and didn't know what to say for a while. Especially the most ferocious Western countries just now, their hearts suddenly tightened at this time. Gongsunli was still standing in place, but his gaze swept directly over Athena, staring directly at the black hole in the sky. In Gongsunli's eyes, the black hole was not a portal, but seemed to have been forcibly carved out. And over time, the black hole is decreasing, but it doesn't seem obvious. At this time, inside the black hole, no one can see. In the darkness, a cacophony sounded. The core of the ark has been opened. There's hope. Let's go. Quick. This is on the Great Wall, as long as I get my weapons back, let them taste my power. Who the hell is it? Li Xi and Houyi. And Gongsunli. If Gongsunli could hear the sound here, he would definitely feel very familiar. But she couldn't hear it now, but these people were all looking at the black hole at this time, groping their way in the darkness in the direction of the black hole. And in the crowd, no one noticed, there was a short, blue staff shadow walking in the front, as if transparent. From time to time, his eyes glanced through the black hole to the deer beside Gongsunli. They are here, they have been imprisoned for countless years, and at this moment the space is opened, and countless people can't help but go in the direction of the black hole. But they also know in their hearts that they can't get out, this black hole is not a real portal, and there must be a prohibition blocking them. And in fact, it is. When they are still a few hundred meters away from the black hole, they cannot move forward. Can only watch Li Xian and Houyi fight with Athena. Damn. The hope this time is all on Gongsunli's body, I feel it, Gongsunli seems to have a different breath from us. Yes, I hope Li Xian and Houyi will protect Gongsunli. Let Gongsunli know that it's not enough to open the core of the ark. Who's going to get the message out? Yaotian, what about Mingxian? Gongsunli is not your Yaotian's person. In the darkness, a pink color lit up, and a peony flower flashed in front of everyone's eyes. Don't worry, give it to me. Outside the black hole, on the blue staircase, Li Xian had already fought with Athena, and countless blue-armored soldiers had no time to retreat into the black hole and were affected. They fell down the stairs like dumplings. And Athena not only had to withstand Li Xian's attack, but also had to pay attention to the cold arrow shot by Hou Yi, and she had the upper hand for a while. And Gongsunli also felt the difference between himself and Li Xian Hou Yi at this time. I felt like I was being excluded by that space. Gongsunli lowered his head and felt it carefully. Could this be what Hou Yi told me? Gongsunli carefully recalled what Hou Yi Li Xian had told her before. Is it that I can't enter that space at all, and the so-called true God can't hold me at all, unless he can kill me? Thinking of this, Gongsunli suddenly raised his head, looked at the shrinking black hole and Li Xian and the other three who were getting closer and closer to the black hole. Gongsunli's figure instantly burst out and went straight to the black hole. And Youyu, at this time, also seemed to sense something, and followed closely behind Gongsunli with his hooves. Bang! There was a crisp sound, and a red umbrella appeared in the originally dark night sky. Come like thunder. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 180. Come like thunder. Gongsunli's figure disappeared and reappeared in the night sky, drawing a beautiful curve in the sky. The people who watched were dazzled, and they arrived in front of Li Xian and the others in an instant. Athena rolled her gaze and swept over Gongsunli. It's you. The corners of his mouth hooked up a smile, and he aimed the spear in his hand at Gongsunli. Gongsunli's body, the space power of another world, naturally can't hide it from Athena. Whoosh! The next moment, Li Xian's figure stood in front of Gongsunli. I hold the edge of the sword to build the great wall. The golden sword flew towards Athena in an instant. The golden glow shone on Athena's face, as if her pupils were also dyed gold. Holy March! The next moment, Athena held her shield to resist the power of the sword, and rushed straight towards Li Xian. Bang! With a muffled sound, Athena and Li Xian collided violently. The shield and the golden giant sword collided, and a powerful energy erupted in succession, but Li Xian did not take a half step back. Ali! Li Xian yelled, but Gongsunli didn't listen to her. She can see it now that Li Xian and Hou Yi clearly want to break in. But the black hole is shrinking. If these two people go in, when the black hole disappears, this time, there will be no kings and heroes on the continent. Humph! At this moment, Athena let out a cold snort, seemingly with a bit of disdain. Through, gun. Poof! Suddenly, Athena's figure flashed, and she appeared directly behind Li Xian. Li Xian's eyes narrowed fiercely, and Gongsunli was behind him. Athena looked at Gongsunli, and the spear in her hand stabbed out directly. No! Li Xian yelled and wanted to go back to support, but he was surrounded by the small blue-armored regiment that rushed out of the black hole again, delaying his speed for a while. And Hou Yi's arrow had just been fired. But no matter what, it couldn't stop Athena's shot. Dead. Kill Gongsunli. Kill. Kill her. Gongsun leaves the... Athena. It's really bad this time. Gongsunli is too impulsive. Ha ha ha. Your vanguard is so bold that you want our true gods to fight. It's okay to die, this time Xiaguo will be finished with him. Dare you say that we Athena are guarding the gate, ha ha ha. Look at herself. Isn't she even as good as a gatekeeper? It's so arrogant, it's a pity, Such a beautiful face. At this moment, in the live broadcast room, all the Xiaoguo viewers watched the scene in horror. No one knows how Athena broke through Li Xian's defense in an instant. The corners of Athena's mouth even leaked a smile of victory. The foreign audience also began to cheer, waiting with excitement on their faces as Athena's spear penetrated Gongsunli's chest. Many people couldn't bear to look at it anymore and closed their eyes in pain. Athena was so fast that no one even reacted. Whoosh! The sound of breaking the air sounded, and the tip of Athena's spear was less than 20 centimeters away from Gongsunli. You can even see that the power of the tip of the spear has begun to stir Gongsunli's clothes. But Gongsunli's eyes suddenly flashed with a trace of contempt. Athena's skills, she couldn't be clearer. What? Athena caught the trace of contempt in Gongsunli's eyes, and her heart was suddenly shocked, and the strength of her hand was a little stronger. However, it was still too late. One shot down, Gongsunli's figure dissipated. It turned out to be just an illusion. Ding! With a crisp sound, a golden arrow shot accurately at Athena's gun, and Athena staggered, almost not standing firmly. Whoa, whoa! Boom! Boom! Suddenly, behind Athena, there was a burst of breaking sounds, accompanied by explosions and screams. Not good. I saw a red figure, like a fairy, floating in the air with a red umbrella in his hand. There was also a rainbow-like phantom behind him, and the speed of the whole person was so fast that he couldn't see it clearly. Wind Spirit Crest. This is Yo-Yo's Wind Spirit Crest. It is also the second time that Gongsunli has used it. And with her as the center, countless maple leaves shot like sharp arrows towards the hordes of blue armored soldiers. And every now and then there will be an explosion. Everyone who watched was secretly talking. And Li Xian also took this opportunity to cause a large number of blue armored soldiers to fall. Phew! A birdsong sounded, and the blue armored soldiers, who were already in chaos, were forcibly separated into a line of fire. Ho Yi's figure appeared in it. This is a complete harvest. However, Gongsunli did not stop there, but stepped on the head of the blue armored soldier with both feet, and walked towards the direction of the black hole at an extremely fast speed. Ali! Seeing this, Li Xian's face instantly became ugly. Come back. However, Gongsunli didn't seem to hear it, and now, she just wanted to see if her guess was right. I want to see if I can get in. And the black hole, at this moment, there are still blue armored soldiers pouring out, as if these people are endless. Find your own death. Athena glanced at Gongsunli's back mockingly, and then focused on Li Xian and Ho Yi. In Athena's opinion, Gongsunli dared to step forward like that, and it was definitely a dead end. And Li Xian, worried about Gongsunli's safety at this time, directly opened fire. Give up, you guys, there's no escape. Athena dodged and stood directly in front of Li Xian, and at this time, Li Xian was completely surrounded. I could only watch Gongsun get closer and closer to the black hole. And Gongsunli finally arrived at the front of the black hole. Zhong returns to the moon. Whew! Gongsunli's figure disappeared. Bang! But in the next second, it reappeared in the same place. Sure enough, I can't get by, even if I use skills. Gongsunli stretched out his hand forward, and could feel an invisible force stopping her. And she seems to hear a voice coming from a black hole here. Leave, go, get out of here. Gongsun was stunned. The sound of a tiger. She heard it, it was Pei Baohu's voice. But the next moment, before she could react, she felt that the world around her suddenly changed. Buzz. The space behind her vibrated with a buzzing sound. Instantly cut off her connection with the outside world, and at this moment, the place where she is like a separate small world. In the eyes of Li Xian and others, Gongsunli was blocked by a blue phalanx that appeared out of thin air. Between the phalanx and the black hole barrier, Rao's body is no matter how powerful she is, and she can only be trapped within 2 meters of this. Nuwa. Gongsunli raised his eyebrows and immediately guessed it. And the next moment, as if to verify her words, 2 laser-like blue rays shot out from the depths of the black hole, through the sky, through Gongsunli, and straight on the ground. In the depths of the black hole, an extremely terrifying force is converging. Even Gongsunli had to admit that this was the strongest power she had ever felt. And she was being sealed in this small space and couldn't dodge, as if she could only passively wait for the terrifying attack to come. Ali. Seeing this scene, Li Xian suddenly roared. Born with my clan, how can I abandon it lightly? Break the impermanence of fate.